Well, 2 hub depth water crossings in the first 12.5k. Apparently there's 6. See what happens tomorrow. Pray for drought or not. Welcome to the ride day. So I got 230 kilometers and 5,700 vertical meters of climbing on the Thunderbolts Adventure / Monument course. I have completed it once before as an out and back, not as a loop, which is traditionally how it's done for the overnighter guys. So this will actually be my first time doing it as a proper loop. I've got a couple of the big climb segments in my computer, so I know about how I want to pace myself. The Graveleur team are starting us out from the Gloucester Recreation Centre. Here we are rolling into the car park. People starting to get their stuff together, feed bags, or event brief going on here at the moment. So sizing up the competition. There's some serious folks. My buddy Mason and Morgs, who I'm staying with as well on the start line, they've both done it before as well as an overnighter. This one is probably a ride that I think is best. I mean, in some ways, I don't even know if I should be racing it or not, but it's just such an amazing route with so much to see, and I suppose there's a lot of different countryside to cover. You start in the Gloucester area, do the big climb, you're on top of the Barrington Tops, which I think it actually gets snow on it reasonably regularly, like once or twice a year or something like that. Luckily enough for us today, whilst it has been raining a fair bit recently, it's not actually raining. It's about 12 or 13 degrees to start with, and we're off and into it. Deep. I don't know if it's just me or being a little bit lighter than some of the taller dudes on the ride here, but I definitely feel the current. Trying to push through them pretty hard, but these guys seem to just smash through it a bit easier than what I do. I'd rather be a little bit cautious. Don't want to get the tidal flow and get washed down the river. Good to have about 5 guys together for the first couple of hours of the race. This is sort of what I had hoped would happen to get me out to that main, I suppose the first main climb up to Barrington Tops. That first big climb, I think it's over 1,000 vertical meters in one hit, and around about an hour 20 or something like that. You can see Jason English there, who's been out here and done this route a few times. Obviously got some very good endurance legs with all the races that he's done and been in before. The rest of the crew seems to be pretty much a bunch of real strong roadies from all over the place. There's a couple of Queenslanders, I think, in the mix, and a couple of other guys from Sydney and Canberra as well. So good to have a good mix of riders all together. Most people tend to be running a pretty, I'd say, like not too many bags or anything like that, but a lot of camelbacks and stuff like that as well, because there is an aid station halfway around the loop at Moon and Flats, and then the 1/4 and 3/4 marks roughly. Obviously plenty of water being ridden through, but I don't know how drinkable it would be if you needed to. Certainly wouldn't recommend it without the magical little tabs that make it safe to drink. Not too much of a push on out of each of them. Everyone's pretty courteous at the moment and allowing it all to stay together. We are pushing a good pace though. I think the average is about 30k an hour or so. All gradually uphill with some rollers through these 6 creek crossings. Certainly have to embrace having wet feet. This is the last time that all 7 of the front bunch are all together. After this, it tends to split up into 2 groups. In the front group, it's Ben Spenceley, Jason English and myself, just rolling off turns nice and gently all the way to the base of the Barrington Tops main climb. The main climb is over 1,000 metres in total vertical gain, and I think the Strava is somewhere around about an hour, 20 minutes. I've actually popped it in my computer and I'm going to use that as a pacing tool just to make sure that I don't go too hard at the start or I suppose too hard at the end as well. Just try to keep a nice steady pace the whole way up, not let the heart rate go too high or too low. Ben and Jason do a great job. Jason's obviously got lots and lots of experience in real long rides, 24-hour events and stuff like that, and I think that Ben's done a fair bit of road racing. Yeah, certainly has some pedigree in those legs and pedaling nice and smooth on it. So also seems that he's like riding nice and smart and doesn't really worry too much about the pace that Jason and I choose to ride at on the climb, rather choosing to pace himself as well. We've turned off the main road by this point and we're working our way up to the base of the climb still. Lovely, smooth, fast gravel road, super picturesque countryside here. You can sort of see the cows every now and then pop up. Some of them do get involved with the road, and you do have to take it pretty easy when you do see those guys because they don't move so fast and not in a predictable way, that's for sure. You don't want to come unstuck with a cow. The gravel here is pretty smooth. I mean, the rain around here has caused a couple of like bits of erosion, some I suppose little drainage cuts across the road like just here. Going well over sort of 50k an hour on this little descent section, but pretty manageable. At the moment my gravel bike setup is pretty much the same as from Attack of the Buns. I've got my 48 tooth chainring with the mountain bike rear rail anchor set out back with the 1052. I have taken off my mountain bike Aspen ST 2.25 width tyres and put on some Maxxis Riva 45Cs. I'm running them pretty firm. Obviously don't want to get a flat tyre here, but I think I've got like 30 in the front and 32 in the back. No tyre liners or anything like that, but plenty of Champion's Choice tyre sealant in there just to make sure that I don't have to stop for a flat or anything like that. Here we are just crossing the river at the base of the climb. So this climb's real steep at the start. It's tarred for the first half or thereabouts. Ben just rolls off there and we start dancing on the pedals. Jason and I slowly start to edge away. There's a bit of blow-in footage from the day before out riding with Mace. You can see the data here on the climb, probably a little bit above what I was my target was to aim between 150 and 160 heart rate and around about between 275 and 300 watts for the full climb. In my training, I know that this is pretty achievable for me to hold for as long as I pretty much need to. So if I can hold the two climbs in between those brackets, I know that I'm probably going to be able to get a PB up both of them and steal the Strava comm as well at the same time, which is always nice. Certainly think that with a team you could probably go a little bit faster, but as far as the solo goes, it's certainly be difficult for me to go much quicker than what I do on this particular day. At the top section here, it certainly turns into some beautiful fast rolling, like real compacted dirt gravel road. Ideal in this sort of rainforest. It goes up into some alpine, I suppose subalpine I think they call environment at the top in the Royal National Park. Just about on top of the hill now. Centre plateau. Starting to roll down. It's actually been good so far. It's quite alpine and cool up here, but it's good to keep pushing on and not overheat. Some yogis. Wow, it's pretty amazing here. Tertiary vegetation or something like that. Yes, instead. Wow. Big views here. Yeah, wow. The views on this section down from Dingo Gate to Moon and Flat are absolutely amazing. Sort of typifies why a lot of these gravel type events should be probably kept as a ride or as a fondo and not as a race, to truly enjoy the country and the countryside that we live in Australia. Most of the roads are regularly serviced and there's not heaps of traffic. Sort of see a couple of cars going down here. Some sections of it are sort of semi-tarred with like thick loose gravel over the top. Certainly not a place to be going as fast as you can, like in a race sort of situation. A bit of caution needed to obviously keep it upright and make sure that you don't end up losing a whole bunch of skin down here. Survived the big descent, the Dingo Gate. Man, so slippery on the bitumen with the very loose gravel over the top. Really hope everyone takes it easy down there. Now in the valley. Looking forward to doing the refill and then the hilly half on the way home. Even though it is maybe slightly downhill overall. A lot more climbing, I think. So hopefully the pacing's good. Next time, Moon and Flat. Here's the next climb. Over on the next hill, 12k climb, 6-point-something% average gradient. After I've got that one done, I'll be pretty happy. And it's just the lumps all the way back home, back to Gloucester. This climb. About halfway. So steep. I'm in the 52. This pacing. Man. Sun's warm. Looking forward to the top. What a view! Places you shouldn't ride your race bike and should just ride it. Great pacing up the hill. Yeah, really stoked with the ride up that hill there. Just paced myself, took 4 minutes off my PB. It's great. Got the call back. A couple of minutes up on them, so
the rollers on the way home now, but I don't die on these bumps.
That's all the footage that I've got from the Thunderbolt ride. Unfortunately, the batteries went flat about 2/3 of the way in at the top of that second major climb. From there, on the way back, there's a real big descent, and then about 5 more smaller climbs, all the way back into Gloucester. Ends with about an hour-ish sort of on flatter roads with some mixed, like through some paddocks and stuff like that, broken old tar and some nice fast gravel sections to finish off the day. I did think that it would be worthwhile mentioning how I fueled my ride. I basically broke the ride down into 2 sections. I knew that it was going to be cooler, so I wasn't too worried about getting a huge amount of hydration in, but more worried about getting the carbs in to fuel the engine. For each half of the ride, I used 2 large Camelback bottles and then a 500ml soft bottle, which I had in my back pocket. Inside that, I used the pure race fuel, but I actually added a gel into the bottle as well, in each of the bottles, which is 90 grams for a serve for the race fuel, and then an extra 25 grams of carbs for the gel, so 115 in each. In the soft bottle, I just had the normal hydration, which has 37.5 grams of carbs in there. I use a mixture of pineapple, is my favorite at the moment, but using raspberry as well. The soft bottle is real good because you can also like roll it up as you go along, and it's easy to get in and out with the little hard bit at the bottom, makes it go a little bit easier. I also took, for each section or each half of the ride, I had a gel for every hour as well. I wasn't so strict on making sure that I was having these just going by feel. I did have the full route in my Hammerhead computer. Ideal because you can zoom in, zoom out, you can see the corners coming up on descents that you might not be confident with knowing. All my kit that I rode, I had Parkoop from Sydney for the bibs and for my jersey as well. Nice longer sleeve on it, which is pretty comfortable. And I use chamois butter always, pretty much on every single ride. This one's the original one. They also do like a coconut one, which smells a little bit nicer as well. It's good just to finish off the ride. I was probably ran a little bit dry as far as the fluid goes at the end, coming into the 9 hour or towards the 9 hour mark. My goal was to finish it in just under that, and I scraped by like 8 hours 50 something. As I said, I mean, it's awesome to do it as a challenge and to see how fast you can do it, but with the countryside out there, it's such a nice ride that, I mean, it's almost cheating on yourself to do it as a race. So looking forward to a couple of events coming up. I'm doing Mountain Bike Masters World Champs in a few weeks' time, and then some adventures over winter. Not really sure what. Going to try to do something for the winter solstice, see what I can do with some nog lights on the longest night of the year, and then we'll get ready for some spring races and into summer. See you next time.